This program is supported by Main Street Bookends of Warner for books, toys, games, cards, gifts, and a gallery of local art. Main Street Bookends of Warner.
Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle, coming to you from the VNA inside the Renaissance Shoppe here on Newport Road in New London. We love coming by here every year, usually around this time too. November is Hospice and Palliative Care Month, and the VNA is honoring that with their amazing hospice team. And I'm now joined by Rebecca Lacasse, who's the Hospice and Palliative Care Nurse Practitioner. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, how are you?
That was a mouthful, but I think I got it all out.
You did.
I'm excited to meet you. You're fairly new to this position, so first, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I have my doctorate in nursing from Maryville University. I've been working in the medical field now for about 17 years total. I started out as a unlicensed care provider and worked my way through being an LNA nurse and worked my way up to having my doctorate.
Wow, impressive. And what were you doing before you came to the VNA?
So I was working in primary care for the last 3 years prior to coming here.
Amazing. Have you worked in the hospice industry before?
So I trained with Dartmouth's palliative medicine team during my schooling and then fell in love with it because of personal experiences with my own family, and here I am.
Sometimes that makes for the best career.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you can tie in that you went through something personally and then you make it into a career. This might be a personal question from me, but tell me the difference between hospice and palliative care.
So hospice is actually kind of in the palliative care field, but hospice is more end of life. So typically when we think somebody has less than 6 months to live and they no longer want to pursue treatment and they just want to focus on comfort and quality.
Okay.
Whereas palliative, you can still go through treatment, you can still do anything for curative, but we're focusing on making sure that your treatments match your goals of care and we're not doing things that you would find burdensome.
Interesting. Does often someone who's in palliative care become a hospice patient?
They can. Sometimes they choose to stay on palliative and not pursue hospice, and sometimes we roll into hospice and then we already know them and they already have support through our team.
So potentially you only know someone for a couple of days or weeks, however long it might take them through the hospice process, but someone you may know for years if you've had them through palliative care and then into hospice care.
Yep.
Interesting. I never knew that, so I learned something new today.
Perfect.
My day is done. Talk about the hospice team at the VNA. Over the years, we've talked to many, many people, and I think a lot of people in the outside world might not realize how extensive the team is here.
Sure, so I don't want to forget anybody, but guaranteed I'm probably going to.
That's okay.
So we have wonderful nurses and home caregivers and homemakers. We have our spiritual care team, our social workers, our medical director, Dr. Abruzzi, and then myself, as well as the administrative support staff.
It's really incredible too, because it's an undertaking. Someone reaches out and is either themselves or a caregiver and knows it's time for that hospice period, and it's not just, okay, we'll be there and check you out. There's so many other aspects that come, not only for the patient, but for the caregivers and family as well.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a conversation that we have to lead up to get people and families to understand that that's where we are and that we're moving towards hospice.
Do you meet with people often prior to what they hope to have their hospice time look like?
So I meet with families to do meetings prior to hospice at times, just to make sure that everybody's on board and knows what hospice looks like and what hospice is.
Important.
Because there's a huge negative connotation with the word hospice.
Interesting. And you're hoping to kind of change that a
Absolutely.
little bit too. The VNA obviously does many different parts to helping our, not only our town here, but our region, which is very important. But having it be November is Hospice and Palliative Care Month, what are some of the things that the VNA does to support that?
So right now we have the hospice lights and we have our annual video coming out for hospice, and then there's more information on that on our website.
Right.
But otherwise that's...
And there's a lot too, we talked about this with Cinnamon, who's the spiritual care counselor, that for somebody who is supporting someone through hospice, there's a lot of different resources that the VNA supports for after someone has passed away.
Yes, so we have 13 months of bereavement support after someone passes away.
That is impressive. And all that information can be found on the website.
It can.
Well, Rebecca, I really appreciate hearing about this, and thank you for teaching me something new. That's always important. I always hope to learn something new in an interview, but thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. When we return, we'll hear from Nancy Tripp of the Summer Music Associates about some non-summer activities. But first, let's recognize one of today's underwriters of Your Yankee Chronicle. You could be one too. Contact us to learn more about helping grow our local programming and raising our community's profile. Stay with us.